The man's eyes flickered open, and for a moment, he couldn't make sense of the world around him. All he could see was darkness, an inky void that seemed to press against his vision like a heavy fog. Panic surged through his chest as he tried to move, but his limbs were immobile, as if they were encased in concrete. Then, he felt it, the cold, unyielding restraints that bound his wrists and ankles. Panic escalated to terror as he realized he was trapped, unable to move even an inch. His heart pounded in his chest, and his breath came in short, ragged gasps. As his eyes adjusted to the dimness, he began to make out his surroundings. He was seated in a cold, metal chair, and the restraints that held him in place were thick leather straps, fastened with buckles that dug into his flesh. His eyes darted around the room, searching for any sign of an escape. The room was small and suffocating, with peeling wallpaper that had once been a sickly shade of green. Flickering fluorescent lights overhead cast eerie shadows that danced along the walls. The air was thick with a peculiar scent, a mixture of dampness and something metallic, like the tang of blood. His gaze landed on a grim centerpiece in the room, the electric chair. It was an antiquated monstrosity, a relic from a bygone era of cruel punishment. Wires dangled from its rusted frame, and a cracked leather helmet hung ominously over the backrest, wires snaking from it like serpents. Panic surged again, and he pulled against his restraints, feeling the skin on his wrists chafe raw. He screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the oppressive silence of the room. No one would hear him here, wherever "here" was. Just as despair began to claw its way into his mind, a door on the far side of the room creaked open, and a figure stepped into the feeble light. The man strained to see, but the newcomer's features remained shrouded in darkness. "You're awake," a voice rasped from the shadows, sending a chill down the man's spine. It was a voice like no other he had ever heard, hollow, devoid of any warmth or humanity. "Who are you? Where am I?" the man stammered, his voice quivering with fear. The figure approached slowly, and as it drew nearer, the man caught glimpses of grotesque features, a pallid, waxy complexion, eyes that glowed with an eerie, otherworldly light. "You are in a place where choices are made, where justice is served," the figure replied cryptically. The man's mind raced, trying to make sense of the situation. "I don't understand. What have I done?" The figure circled the chair, its movements sinuous and unnatural. "You have been chosen to face the consequences of your actions," it hissed. "You will pay for your sins." A sinking feeling settled in the pit of the man's stomach as he realized the truth. He was here to pay for his past, for the deeds he had tried to forget. But he couldn't remember how he had ended up in this nightmarish place, bound to an electric chair. The figure reached for a lever beside the chair, and the room was suddenly flooded with blinding light. The man squinted against the intensity, and as his vision cleared, he saw a gruesome sight. The room was filled with the faces of the condemned, their tortured souls etched into the walls like grotesque murals. The figure pulled the lever, and the ancient electric chair crackled to life. The man's scream echoed through the chamber as a surge of electricity coursed through his body, searing his flesh and burning his soul. As his vision dimmed, he realized the horrifying truth. He was trapped in a never-ending cycle of torment, bound to the electric chair for all eternity, paying for his sins in the most agonizing way imaginable. The room faded into darkness once more, but the man's screams continued to echo, lost in the void, a testament to the horror that awaited those who had committed unspeakable acts.